Please tell me that's working. It wouldn't be a show if I didn't do that. I bet you that's working. I see it now. I am rusty as a nail in a salty boat. Sailed across the Atlantic and realized it left something back at shore. And then it had to go back. Still no sound. No sound still? Okay. Still working on that. We will see here. Fuck. Sorry, guys. No idea. Wait, now you can hear me. Can you hear me? Now working? Great, thanks. Hey, Tease, good to see you. Morning, Anna. Lou, good to see you. Hi, all. I'm assuming we have liftoff finally, right, Michael? It's about damn time. Hey, Gaia, good to see you. Okay, audio is good. Yes, welcome all. Welcome to a wonderful show. As you can tell, we've been doing this a while. And, yeah, never miss a beat. Happy May 7. Happy Friday. It like broke out in a freezing hailstorm rain last night. You can see remnants of that on my grill, maybe, possibly. Lots of coldness just came in, and the birds are still like resilient. Can you hear that? It's great. They're like resilient through it all. They don't care. They don't care. They don't look at pain in the same way you or I do. That's got to be vertigo watching that camera do that. They don't look at pain in the same way you or I do. And I don't mean to speak for all of us. Some of us deal with pain better than I do. But I would say to you, I woke up in pain last night. I got up, I threw up. And sorry to tell you that, but I have to tell you that because before I actually did that, I've had this new relationship with my body where when I feel sick, I don't treat it like, I try really hard not to treat it like an invasion or a discomfort. I try and see that ailment as a cry for help. That there is a sentient part of my body that is in desperate need of witness. It's in such a desperate need of witness that it has dropped all protocols when it comes to sending out good vibes and is now sending bad vibes, or what we would call bad vibes. Actually, see, I just caught myself. And that it's sending these signals to you because it's a mayday, it's a stress call. And that we treat narcissists the same way that we treat pain today. When a narcissist makes a call, I would like you to imagine the Coast Guard telling the emergency radio caller that's calling in, yeah, mayday, mayday, we're going down, the ship's going down, the ship's going down. The Coast Guard's like, yeah, could you stop shouting, please? You know, there's no reason to be shouting. He's like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just really scared. I got my kids on the boat. My wife's like, yeah, look, sir, again, if you don't stop shouting, I'm not going to be able to pay. I'm really sorry. It's that kind of a thing where we're directly attacking the person because of the severity of the injury that they have. And that the severity of itself is we look at it like an affront. The people that don't have compassion. And not having compassion is not a bad trait. It's a simple level of electricity. We've talked about this. I hope you guys know that. You guys know that, right? All your compassion is directly related to how much electricity you have. And that Christ, holy fuck, the dude was just a walking amperage of compassion. So I say just because he was able to tap into the power of that living cross. It's the same kind of thing. It's beautiful, right? And that pain that you see coming from your body, how you relate to that pain is going to be directly congruent to what happens, right? Now, when you come to a hospital, the mode is to subdue and eliminate the patient's mobility. It's true. It's the very, very first thing that you have to do. When you're taught the procedure of how to treat someone in what we call medicine now, you were taught you must mobilize the patient or demobilize the patient. You must stabilize and demobilize the patient. You need to remove the patient's volition. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. When we would treat an injured bobcat, we would want to eliminate the bobcat's volition. Bobcats have some serious volition. And if you're going to be doing something to a bobcat, especially when it's in pain, you're not going to want to have it to have volition. And I would say to you that I'm not even suggesting that that's wrong, but I'd like for you to look at the moment you enter a hospital, what has to happen energetically. And that the exact same approach that the Coast Guard man would have by being offended that the life-stranding call was being rude is the exact same thing that you're watching happen today in the medical industry across the board. And that vaccine injuries are the normalization of everything that's happening. Just pure denial. And that autism itself is a rebranding and a desperate attempt at denial veiled in the costume of progressivism. If I've told you this story before, I don't care. I was a programmer in a former life. That's not the story. And I worked for Cure Autism Now, an organization, Cure Autism Now. We did a project with the ARD, American Association of can't say retarded. Can't say retarded. You're mean if you say retarded. American Association of Retarded Teaching Institute. It wasn't that, but it was a how do you teach someone that is so overstimulated that is actually, I'm going to use modern day real language. How do you treat someone that's a walking autoimmune response? How do you treat someone that's been given metallic injection, shorting out the electrical system inside, and then put into an environment where everyone else around him pretends that, well, he's just special? There's nothing wrong with, oh, how dare you to suggest something wrong with you? And that organization, Cure Autism Now, where we wrote a tablet speech program. An autistic child would in class who could not communicate would use this tablet to form sentences and focus and communicate. And in the field, this tablet was showing strong progress in motor skill development. I don't even know if that's true, though. I mean, like, I definitely saw it happening, but you gotta, man, when you're dealing with statistics, guys, you're not really dealing with, like, reality. You're basically dressing hypotheticals up in lingerie and taking pictures of them and putting them in a PowerPoint presentation. But despite all that, my point is that even though we were making progress, even though everything that we set out to do we were doing, that company had to rebrand itself because Cure Autism Now was insensitive. That the idea of curing something and the idea of autism and the idea of doing something about it right now was offensive. It was offensive to the medical industry at large, and it was something that the pharmaceutical industry, the National Science Foundation, Stanford University had decided we don't want to put any money into curing autism. We want to put money into speaking about autism. And that we want our budget to go into funding of educational programs to educate people that the person they're sitting next to who has autism is normal, not affected by vaccines, not a condition of the environment, not a condition of the pharmaceutical industry, that this child is 100% organically natural. That this is a natural thing. And that the child that starts to scream because the sound of fucking rain on the roof of the car feels like violence, that all of us are told to look straight ahead and insist that curing autism now is racist. that neurotypical people have a bigotry that's built into them that requires them to want to fix us. And that they are the baddies and that we must stick together and form a core. And you've seen that in spades. You've seen that in spades so much that the disassociation has become a fashion statement. And to disassociate from your gender is to truly turn yourself into a hypothetical. The idea of pronouns, I'd like you to really analyze what that means. I am no longer he or she, I am they. And I'd like you to look at the argument used for that, saying, well, they is classical English. It's how all any proper English spoken would use they as a third person. And what they're fundamentally missing is that third person, they, is a pronoun that's used for a hypothetical person. That if I was to find a wallet on the ground, I would certainly want to return it to them. And the reason why I use the word them is because them is a hypothetical. Them is not a real person. Them has no matter. Them has no substance. Them has no reference to the law, nor do they have a reference in my senses. And because of that, I use the term them to distinguish them from something that is fucking real, right? And when you look at the truth of the matter, you see that people that are muting their gender are disassociating from their presence. They are becoming a hypothetical. And how can you blame them when they've been brought up sitting next to a child in a class and the entire class is now remedial? And the entire class is now regurgitating the exact same thing they've been regurgitating since second grade because of no child left not autistic. That the programs that have been instilled have been used to tenderize the mind that's raised like veal in America. The president of Cure Autism Now called me 8 years ago. On my website, I have listed in the credits some of the many things that James True has done, right? You know, who is James True, all that shit. And in there, I mentioned the word Cure Autism Now. And he wrote me to tell me that he needed me to remove that. Of course, some of you know me, and I really had fun with that. And I was amazed at how much calories that dude was putting in, not to autism, not to curing autism, but to making sure that I was not trying to cure autism now. That those three things are the new nigger. That's the new bad word. And that's where we are. That's where we are in reference to people's ability to respond to what's happening around them with the amount of electricity that they have. And it would be wrong of you and of me to expect more from a capacitor that only has this much juice. And that's a big lesson. It's huge. I forget that all the time. I have an expectation of people to approach something with the same amount of electricity I do. And when I'm let down, I get to remind myself now that I'm the one that let myself down. Before I got sick last night, I felt the urge to want to vomit. And I immediately started to tell myself, I think that's a really good idea. Like, I get that it took a lot of courage for you to tell me this. I get that you knew this. I was going to have problems with this. And body, I want you to know that not only do I think it's a good idea, but I'm on board and I'm going to follow your lead. And I told my body that I'm really, really, really really, really have sympathy for it and what's going on. And I want to dedicate all the witness I can in the next 15 minutes to making you feel better. What do you think we should do? Should we go in the bathroom and get on my knees? Should I worship this porcelain witness and give it this prana, this rejection? And my body said yes. And it was a beautiful ritual. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm actually really, so I'm sorry if some of this probably grosses something out, but I want you to realize that when you're having that, when the inside of your torus is able, through the secretion of chemicals through your membrane and through the retraction and expansion of muscles, is able to expunge and remove things from inside your core, that's fucking amazing. It's amazing and it's brilliant. And I'd like for you to picture for just a moment if my dumbass captain would have been in charge then. The dumbass captain who listens to the president of Cure Autism now. That when he gets sick, he's probably like, oh fuck, I'm getting sick. Oh, I need to stop my body from getting sick. I need to go take some Dulcolax or whatever the fuck. I need to figure out a way to convince my body not to throw up. And that if you go into any pharmaceutical company, into anything at all, you're going to see nothing but medication that's designed to make you stop feeling the things that your body is demanding. Please, would you please give me witness? From Band-Aids that cover the cut, to Mucilax, to Pepto-Bismol that's trying to tell you your diet's bad, to the fucking diabetics that are on Twitter trying to tell me that it has nothing to do with sugar, James. You just don't understand how it works. And I'm like, your body is attacking yourself because the pilot is a fucking idiot. And he keeps putting sugar in the goddamn gas tank and the engine is rejecting it. And you are insinuating that you need this and you need this medicine and you need this medicine. And why in the fuck would your body keep listening to that kind of captain? You are watching a nation of mutinous, neurologically controlled biomes that are fighting for their fucking lives inside your belly. They're fighting for their freedom. They're fighting from their sovereignty, from the drugs and the propaganda that its pilot keeps fucking eating. And we have 158 new autoimmune diseases since I graduated high school. That's a lot. That's a lot of phone calls telling people, man, you can't be trying to cure autism. What the fuck's wrong with you? Get your shit together. Click. It's a lot of those calls. And it's funny because we all told each other that we needed medical insurance because we were told that there's these people that go into the hospital and rack up bills so much that they lose everything. Excuse me. But they don't lose everything. They don't. Hospitals have never come to take your house. They don't do that. Do you know why hospitals don't do that? Because of the definition of the word hospital. That the definition of hospital is charity. Yes, the etymology of hospital is a place where people come for charity and rest. And somehow we've decided that the only way we can give each other charity, because apparently all the medical people are starving of money and they're going bankrupt because of this rumor that we are losing all of these people because of the medical expenses, and none of that's fucking true, that the very definition of hospital itself has been rewired and rewritten to mean socialized medicine. But James, how can you cure someone without charging them a shitload of money? And it's the same way you can do anything in this world without charging someone a shitload of money. It's the same way the government could still defend our borders from all the evil terrorists and not have to require me to pay 40% of my time and taxes, and then to repay taxes on top of all that money that I then spent after the 40% was taken from my labor. That none of those equal roads. Nor does anything that we're saying that hospitals need equal fucking charity. In fact, I would argue it's the antithesis of charity. That if anything, a hospital is eradicating charity and eradicating anyone who would dare suggest that we should cure autism now. Looking around at what's happening, it would be naive to not recognize that the wasps have hatched their eggs. And out of the back of this Leviathan, a new corporate entity has arose. And friends, I don't see any proof that the government, the federal government, has been an entity, a legitimate entity at all, since March of last year. Not this year, last year. That in March of last year, the POTUS seal was dropped from the presidential podium for exactly 1 month. And during that 1 month, at least 5 press conferences were put out, at least 5, where there was no presidential seal shown. Like none at all. Nothing. And not only that, but during that time, Donald Trump came out and was not wearing a suit, was wearing a golf hat, was dressed in civilian clothes, and was carrying himself as a civilian, as someone who was overseeing a fire sale. And I know I've said this before, but I don't hear anyone who's given me a better justification for every single thing that's happened. Other than the country's been sold. That the entire country has been reset. February 17th, POTUS seal on the podium. February 29th, POTUS seal on the podium. March 13th, POTUS seal on the podium. March 14th, no POTUS seal. March 19th, no POTUS seal. March 20th, no POTUS seal. March 22nd, 322, no POTUS seal. April 10th, 2020, no POTUS seal. And that all of us were pretending that the government, hey, thanks for the super chat, Warlock. And all of us were pretending that the government was still open. And that the reason why we're pretending that the government is still open is because we do not want to get up out of bed, go into the bathroom, get down on our knees, and fucking hurl. We don't want to do it. We're just like, no, it's okay. I'm going to take some Pepto-Bismol, and this shit's going to be fine. And that's where we're at. We are the person that has a cut and covers it and says, I don't want to see. And we're waiting. My body's waiting patiently. Can you please look? Can you please look at this cut? It's a lot of blood, dude. Can you please look? And most of us are not looking right now. A continuing theme has occurred in the James True career as a live streamer. It's happened since QAnon, and it happened last week. It's a continuing theme. And it's this idea that the person who's trying to tell you something that's painful, that if you can attack him, that you can distract yourself from everything else that's happening. And the bipartisan politics that you see now is that. That is the pendulum that distracts us from what's really happening underneath. And this happens in your personal life. You will represent a truth to someone. This happens to me all the time. It's my moniker. I should be proud of it by now. You represent a truth to someone, and in their eyes, if they can reduce you, they can reduce the power of that truth. And so they go about undermining you or your idea or your process or your work even to try and protect themselves from those notions. Crow 777 has a saying, knowing is the enemy of belief. And I would say to you that that is exactly the problem that we are suffering from. This coagulation of inflammation that we call knowing. That knowing makes our relationship to mystery kind of whorish. That we don't want to love mystery. We want to solve her like a puzzle behind the dumpster of a 7-Eleven. We don't want to marry mystery. We just want to fuck her. We want it over. We want to conquer it. We want to say we know. Well, I know things. And friends, you don't fucking know shit. In fact, be proud of yourself for the things you don't know. Because the same people that know things are insisting that if you want to come into our hospital house of charity in order for us to give you a surgery on your back that we're going to charge you $200,000 for 4 hours on a table, that we're going to need you to get a vaccine first. That's how you know. People know things. And so no one goes around wondering if this belief is real. You can't question a belief if you've been told that you can know something. Do you understand? That knowing is the false harbor. It's a mooring ball that you feel for sure is connected, because who the fuck would put a mooring ball out in the middle of this reef and not have it connected to the ground? And the answer is motherfuckers who were scared as motherfucker of the truth. They are so scared that they know that if they can put a false ball there, that other boats will surround it and they will feel better about what's happening around them. And that is just the fucking truth. That's rats in a cage. That's men in a cage. That's pigs in a pen. That is the nature of nature itself. And you are a part of nature. And there are people that are trying to tell you that you're not, that you're unnatural, and that you don't do things that are natural. And if you would get back to being natural, you'd be nature again. And those are people that are trying to disassociate you by turning you into a goddamn hypothetical so they can feel better about themselves. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's not. I look in nature and I see birds doing this all the time. I see animals doing it all the time. I think it's beautiful because it showcases the energy inside. And what is that energy? The essence, that energy is I am, isn't it? That energy is I want to survive. That energy is I survive. Let me correct myself. That energy is I survive. I persist. I believe. I am is not a no. I am is a yes. It is a constant churning of I believe, I believe, I believe. Look around at the energy. Realize that the people who are doing well don't have a secret that you don't. The people that are doing well have learned how to conserve and plot their energy. And when they're in pain, they give that energy that they've been saving because they know it's important. They know it's mana. They know they need it. They apply that energy. And they feel better. And I can't blame anyone for wanting to feel better. I can't. Nor can I expect everyone to have such a vigilance, such an extra of electricity that they're going to watch themselves and stalk themselves all the time. I wouldn't want a world like that. I think it'd be dry. And I think that my abundance of energy is my excuse for charity. And I say excuse because I don't think that we measure charity properly. I think that charity is truly an exhaust. It's the exhaust of what you have left, and you want to make sure that that exhaust is going in the right place. Because I don't think that there's a notion out there that truly exists that says, I mean, what I mean is a truthful, non-hypothetical notion that truly exists that says, if you go out and someone witnesses you doing something, because if you look at what charity really is, it's going to require someone else to see that. It's true, because the very definition of it is one who gives to another. And to even say that one is giving to another is to have this major supposition on the energy exchange that's happening right now. Do you understand? That from your mind, that person's giving. When you see a rich person, someone who has money, let's say, give a $20 bill to a homeless person, you in your mind might think that that is energetic charity on behalf of the rich person to the poor person. That you might look at that and know, because I know things, that that's what charity is. And you're fucking wrong. You're fucking wrong. The reason why that person gave $20 to the homeless person is because of the homeless witness. That person was buying the homeless person's witness. That person needed a sigil that would stay out on the fucking street and hum and vibrate the idea that you were generous every time you walk by. And you have turned that living human being into a sigil for your own self-worth. And every time you walk by, this pulse is feeding you. And more importantly, because this is what mostly people end up giving for, more importantly, this is San Francisco in a fucking nutshell. More importantly, that sigil is much like the mafia, where it's telling you, I'm not going to call you a selfish prick today because you've paid your charity tax. And that's San Francisco right now. It's how the whole fucking city runs. Why? Because every single person in that city gutted their sovereignty and themselves a long time ago and turned themselves inside out and decided that they're evil, toxic, and horrible. And when you have a system like that, you are governing by virtue. By virtue. And what's fascinating about that virtue is how that energy is so potent. The energy of virtue is probably the most potent energy that we have. And we trade it on the market with each other. We sell opportunities to give the illusion of virtue. We have established giant National Science Foundation programs that have granted virtue to those who worship certain propaganda. And that there's an entire economy that runs off virtue, and the only way that that economy would ever be able to even function is if you've installed a stent first. Is if you've walked in and gutted everyone's gas tank and then started this program. And that's what you're seeing now. And I say what I say about Crow because I want you guys to understand what government is. Government is not force. Government is not even your enemy. Government is the monopoly of your belief. That whatever it is you believe the most overall is the definition of government. And that if each of us find these little pockets of truth, you could call me one of those if you want, that's fine. Here's a little respite in the rapids of truth called James True, and I can sit here and I can find solace, I can recharge here because I'm surrounded with dissonance, that exact same process, the eddy that you may or may not find here, is the exact same eddy that a Republican or a Democrat would find in the voting booth. That the voting booth itself is not an act of charity, it's not an act of duty, it's not an act of anything but selfish comfort. that voting is the denial of the possibility that I could ever get out of bed and walk into the bathroom and hurl. No, that's not an option. And the more you try and hold that, the more it normalizes, and the more you seek other opportunities to try and cope with what the fuck is happening to you. And one of those is to become hypothetical. As Radiohead really, really brilliantly said, to disappear. That the ballad To Disappear is showcasing a coping mechanism that works successfully and continues to work through this day and continues to power the motor that's rising out of what we all think is a government, but I don't think is. I don't see any proof that the government is here. I see proof of a chemical corporate environment that is pretending to be a private corporation and is taking over your mind with venom. And the notion that you've been taught, remember, you've been raised like veal, and veal will be told their whole life, words will never hurt you. Don't worry. Words can never hurt you. And friends, right the fuck now. Words are convincing people to intramuscularly abandon their immune system. And it's not force. The government is not force. Stop pretending to know that. You don't know shit. The government is belief. And your belief is held by your fear of getting your ass out of bed and going into the bathroom and fucking hurling. That's the power of government. And I want you to notice something. That power does not exist in government. It exists in you. That 100%, that power is in you. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about that? Here's what you can do. Let me fix my hat. Everything's backwards on the camera. What are you going to do about it? First thing, you're going to stop. You don't need to do anything about it. Find your center. Renegotiate your relationship with your crew. I would like for you to imagine that your spleen, it's funny that I got an argument about this the other day on Twitter. Someone told me that I was making a stretch by implying that your pancreas has sentience. But friends, your pancreas has sentience. And the more that I unwrapped this with this guy, the more I realized, wait a minute, the burden's actually on you to tell me that it doesn't have sentience. Because when you die, your skin persists for 2 days. Your skin's like, fuck yeah, man, I am. You're dead as a fucking doornail. And your skin's like, I fucking am. That's your largest organ in your body. And it is thriving. In fact, if anything, it's loving not having a fucking retard at the helm for a while. No offense. I don't think retard's bad. Retard is someone that stopped development. Anyway. That all of your organs, some of them have their own brain. You know this. Your gut has its own brain. Your heart has its own brain. I don't mean like metaphorically. I don't mean like hooty-gooey, right? Literally has neurons packing it. And if you look at what neurons are, thank you, Seamus, you're looking at an agency. Agencies. You're looking at a corporatocracy inside your body competing for influence. And how does it get influence? I think every time that you have a scratch, that you're like, ugh. I think what truly happened during that time is two neurotypical gangs that are running through your body are competing. They're competing with each other. And the only way that they can win a draw is they meet in the middle of a neuron field at high noon, right? And one comes up over the lung, the other comes up from the stomach, from Mexico, right? He's got like tequila, he's got like a cigar, he's like, oh, ese, you think you control the body, don't you? And the other one's like, yeah, I'm John Wayne. I control the body around here. That's not John Wayne, he's more of Elvis Presley. Point is, these two neurological gangs meet at high noon, man, in the town square. They're competing for who controls the world. You, your body. And that I say to you that at high noon there is a draw. And each of them, this is much like Elijah in the Bible, who's like, go ahead, man, pour water over this thing. I will fucking show you that the Lord will deliver. And that these two guys were going at it, and they decided who can make dumbass up there itch. Who can make him itch? And that both of them at noon pick a place in the body that they are going to put a stimulus in. And that whichever one you choose as the dumb pilot who thinks, oh, I'm in charge of everything. Even though I picked my nose for 12 years of my life, I'm running the whole show around here. That you are the dumbass giant responding to these neurological gangs that are showcasing to themselves who's in charge. And this is why one day you'll get up and you'll say one thing, and another day you'll get up and you'll say another thing. And I think there's actually more sovereignty in this notion. I actually think that you will find that you have even more power by understanding that you are a conglomerate. Because when you tap into the conglomerates, it's much like a female perspective. What I mean is that, okay, so the other day, like something over here keeps flashing, but it only flashes when I'm not looking at it. So if I'm on the couch back there with my dog and I'm tapping on the computer, I will see something flash, and then I look and it's not there. And then I look back and then I see it flash and I look and it's not there. That is the laser, right? When you look directly at something, that's your obelisk, that's your male vision, right? And you're just like, bam, laser, I see ya. But when you don't look at something, you're peripherally, it's like you're breathing in. It's like peripheral vision is inhaling. It's inhaling the torus around you. And I can't see that flicker of light by exhaling at it. It's not going to happen. I can only analyze what's happening by inhaling. And I say this because when I get into that mode where I'm inhaling, I'm actually not in charge. My ears, my nose, they become the apex neurology, the neurological gang of my system. And I feel a sense that I have to release control so I can ingest the information that they're saying. And that the more you release control to this, the less likely you will ever want to be hypothetical, because you will notice that by releasing control, all you're really doing is changing gears. Yeah, exactly. That's all you're doing is changing gears. That you're switching your gear from fifth gear ether mode down to your throat. I don't like this. Down to your heart. This doesn't feel right. This gives me a bad fucking feeling. That you are down fucking shifting because you know where the torque is. You know where that guttural fucking power comes from. And that's why your intuition doesn't come from your hair. It comes from your asshole. It comes from down there. I'm not saying it comes from the asshole. It could. We need to have an episode about the asshole, probably. You have 4 cheeks, right? And when you relax your face reflexology, you know, it's like really good. But then you've got your other cheeks down there. It's just ironic that we have 2 sets of cheeks. Right? And we talk about how much we love things that are up here and how much we are disgusted by things down here. Do you not see the duality here? It's beautiful. It's beautiful what's happening here. Let's check in. Are there any grievances? Is that even a thing anymore? Let's see. You guys even have grievances? You guys even listening? We have 200. Wow, there's 200 people watching. That's great. Let's get some likes here. I got 9 likes. Come on. There's my grievance. I have 9 likes. Hey, Linda Wiley's in the house. Yes, neutral. Magic is stored in the butt. Yes. So, Warlock, you are speaking John D. Warlock is speaking John D. Yes, we'll have to talk about this someday. We will have to talk about John D finding magic in the butt. I am not kidding you. Totally not kidding you. Call. Yes, Crow is trying to interrupt. Actually, I think Crow is like, if anything, I think that Crow is kind of like going, dude, listen to this guy. And the irony that it is a crow, you guys cannot miss that, right? Come on. That's some serious irony there. This is my oh, thank you. Guys, can you see this? Can you see the I don't think you can see it. But man, I got a beautiful painting. It's right there where the scissors are. It's a screech owl from Scotland. It's really beautiful. I turned 50 on May the 4th, and that's what's happening. It's actually why I'm back. He's your hype man. He's your hype man. Did you say magic in the butt? Yep. Nope. LOL. Crow 7. Guys, no beef with Crow. Keep listening to Crow. Seriously. But I'm really getting sick of us pretending that we can know things. If he could make a case that you can know things, it'd be great. But there's no case for that. Guys, yes, the best knowing is knowing we know nothing. In fact, guys, half of all scientific research is proven wrong in 20 years. 2/3 of all lab results can never be repeated. So why are you saying that you can know things? And more importantly, why are we saying to follow a belief is bad? Because if you have shame around the belief, you're going to be much less likely to dissect it in front of people. In fact, if you believe there's something called knowing, you're going to be less likely to feel that you even have to defend your ideas because you know it. It's a hypothetical you're putting your mind into, and it's not helping. It's helping you escape. I don't need you to escape. We need less people escaping right now. Get it? Less. Aleister Crowley quote. Was that an Aleister Crowley quote? Belief is the enemy of knowledge. I didn't know that was an Aleister Crowley quote. Wow, that's interesting. That's fucking beautiful, though. I love it. Yeah, it's Brenda, that stuff happens all the time, and it should. It happens more. I think that the problem is that some of us don't feel comfortable with it happening. The synchronicities in your life, believe it or not, make people uncomfortable. And I think the reason why they make people uncomfortable is truthfully the same reason why the eye of providence is such a powerful perspective. Guys, the witness, this whole place is about witness. This whole place is about witness. And nothing improves the posture more than witness. It's true. Nothing improves your behavior more than witness. And it shows you how far you have to go, because that's backwards, isn't it? And it's good it's backwards because it allows us to see, wow, if anything at all, I should feel like I can get away with more when I have witness. Why? Because now I'm distracted from myself. In other words, I should be the primary witness to myself, and I'm noticing I'm not. Just as I should be the primary medical advisor for myself, and I notice I'm not. I should be the primary provider for my sovereignty, and I notice that I'm not. And that this place is showcasing to you why you're here. It's unwrapping it for you. And we are still walking around going, no one knows why we're here, but for some reason vitriol keeps happening to us, and somehow the entire world still works from consent, but none of us know why we're here. It's just like, okay, pal. Yeah, no one knows why you're here. No one. No one's got any idea. You could see the disassociation in that, right? You can see why it took him 60 years to figure out Piltdown Man was a fraud. Think of the comfort that exists by thinking of yourself as pond scum. If you see yourself as pond scum, you don't have to be sovereign. Pond scum would never get up out of bed and go throw up. Wouldn't have to do that. They're pond scum. Come on. You can't expect much out of pond scum. You can't expect anything out of me because I'm a they, right? I'm a they. I'm not a he or a she. I'm a hypothetical. So I don't actually have any tangible effect on this world because I'm mutable. That's my pronoun now. Don't hold me responsible, is what that means. I want to hold you responsible because I know that belief inside you, that belief is what changes this world. I know the more electricity you have, the less all of us are to find mooring balls that are not connected to the ground. And that is what is infesting us the most. Part of my hiatus, as some of you know, was booted off Facebook. And 3 days ago, I got booted off TikTok. I actually just started there. A very young career on TikTok. I was booted because I was telling a lady she was complaining because she drew Baphomet in like a rainbow flag, right? So it was like gay pride Baphomet. And she was giving a TikTok because she was upset because someone else had taken her idea and put it on a t-shirt in New Zealand or something. And she didn't actually show her design next to his, so which was kind of like suspect because, man, she just should have showed him. I mean, fuck. Obviously, you have a digital copy. If he got a copy of it, you could have just put it. Anyway, I told her that it's not really her idea. She didn't invent Baphomet, nor did she. And I was trying to explain to her how intellectual property rights work when it comes to art and critique and satire and things like that. And she's like, "What do you know of art?" And I'm just like, "Well, I was a cartoonist in 5 newspapers, not counting the college ones. I was an art director at a weekly paper, 3 of them, major cities. I don't know. I don't know what I know about art or copyright law." And then I got thrown off Twitter. TikTok, yeah. I'm still on Twitter, which is pretty amazing. Back to the hiatus. Guys, when I got kicked off, I know that YouTube is coming, and the revenue's already gone. Like, every video is demonetized, and that's fine because the patrons have been fucking awesome. There's no way that I would have been back today had it not been for the patrons that have stayed by me, even during this downtime. The patrons have stayed the fuck by me, and it's the only reason why I'm back. It's literally the only reason why I'm back. YouTube's not paying for this show. They're not. And during that hiatus, I've been developing a new platform. Now, I don't want to develop a new social media platform. That's not the goal. There's plenty of those around. I'm looking for something a little bit different. I'm looking for something a little bit more Underground Railroady. And that's what we're working on. It's just taking a while. During that hiatus where I've been working, some of the people that were helping me got really upset because I wasn't live streaming anymore, and they started to punish me for that, which is fine because I get it. We only have so much electricity, right? We only have so much electricity. So part of why I'm back, even though I'm not done with the app yet, is to kind of clarify that. Also, I really miss doing a live stream. Also, all the issues that keep coming up, I just really want to talk about it. This is very helpful to me too, to do this. So I'm going to try and do both. I'm going to try and move forward and do both. One of the things that's helped me with that is Dojo. On August 31st or something last summer, we started something called Dojo. And it was all the electricity things that I talk about. It's a work group. It's a place where we learn our own electricity in a group setting. During that process, I never expected Dojo to go as long as it's gone. I thought maybe we'd have like 3 or 4 meetings, maybe. And, it'd be cool. I would feel like I've just had a chance to explain more. Because I don't get feedback, the feedback's harder here is what I should say. And I didn't know if the electricity stuff was resonating with some people. But in that time, the dojo has continued to meet like almost every day. Not only that, it's really grown and thrived. And in that thriving, there's been churning, there's been infighting, there's been just all the beautiful things that happen in a group are happening there. And I want them to continue. I'm glad they're continuing. And one of the hard things about letting that continue healthfully is me finding a way to step out of it. Some people in dojo like to use my presence as almost like a whipping boy. It's like, well, I'll go in and just throw insults at James and then see how well he takes it. And some people found that entertaining, and I could see why. I totally get why. But I noticed over time that the people that were doing that weren't actually growing. If anything, they were just being fed by being a dickhole. And I don't really have that kind of desire to just be that. And part of the process to get there is that I have to step away from dojo, because so many people, what happens with the truth movement is what we talked about. And people come into dojo and do the same thing. The reality of what I'm showcasing them is too painful, and it becomes easier to attack me. Owen Benjamin, for a month, during the worst pandemic, COVID crisis in the world, for an entire month, Owen Benjamin, after being given $200,000 for saying he was going to raise a wilderness camp and still has not done that, Owen Benjamin spent an entire month trying to convince you that the problems in this world were because of James True. That's true. Feel free to dispute me, but you know you can't. For an entire month, that dildo dedicated his entire show to convincing you that the problems in this world were the result of me translating Greek for the word Lucifer. And I'd like for you to show compassion for Owen right now and understand that he did not want to hurl the things that he thought he knew. He would rather attack the stimulus that's telling him he's wrong. And that same phenomenon existed inside dojo and will continue to exist because people are doing the best they can to find comfort in what's happening around them. All that to say, thank God, we've reorganized the dojo. And now it's run by a tribe of elders. I say elders meaning these are people that have been in dojo a long time. Some of them have been moderators. Some of them have been just quiet pillars. And that the 7 of us have now formed a committee that is in charge of dojo. This helped me tremendously. I was losing, I have to say losing here, because the revenue that I lost, not doing a live stream, not selling books, turning my website into a platform that supported dojo, and starting a whole other website called Dojo Earth has taken a lot out of my coffers. Those coffers have been doing really well because of the patrons. So it's been a great exchange for me to build Dojo Earth. I don't feel like anyone owes me anything. That's been nothing but rewarding for me. But that time has been hard because I haven't had this committee to oversee things, and now I do, which means the anti-dojo, the Owen Benjamin that's like, James True is the reason why the world sucks, that kind of bullshit will continue. And I want dojo to keep supporting that anti-dojo notion. But now that it's run by a committee, I'm no longer the receiver of that. And that doesn't make me grow. If anything, it makes me feel like a fool for just sitting there and giving someone my witness when it could be so much more valuable somewhere else. It's that kind of thing. We have that now, and it's fucking great. It's so great. And as I continue to work on this new platform, this new way of talking to you, this video game platform, I'm hoping that Dojo Earth will encourage me too, and that those two things will merge and come out. I really hope it does. But I know that whenever I start a communal thing, I know that the next day that communal thing could be taken away from me. That the community, the tribe that runs it, needs the autonomy and the sovereignty to kick me out. It's very vital. None of this would work if it wasn't that way. And they could even kick me out. It's totally fine. This is something that nonprofits go through called founder syndrome. And I'm really, really putting extra diligence into making sure we make it over that hump. And last month, I basically just had to cut off dojo completely. I had to see what the mods would do on their own. 3 of them just drove it right in the fucking ditch. Just like, and then as soon as they hit it, they're like, James, you fucking suck. And it's perfect. Because all that vitriol is part of dojo. And that there's no failures, there's no successes. There's simply opportunities to witness what just happened. And we have that. If you want to join dojo now, it's not going to be through my Patreon. It's not going to be on JTrue. You're going to go directly to dojoearth.org. You should see links in your chat. If Gaia is still here, hopefully she is. She'll send you there. You go there, you sign up. It's free. If you want to participate in dojo, it is a paying thing. The tribe itself has decided everyone needs to pay, but it's like right now it's pick what you want to pay. So it's not even like you have to pay this much money. That is cleaning your witness. that is cleaning the witness before you walk in, so we don't open it up to another person that just wants to talk shit about people for free. At least if the witness is paying, they're going to feel like a fool when we turn the witness directly on them, and they're going to feel like that they've lost something because they put money in. It's very, very vital. Even if it's $1, it's really kind of an important element of that. That money is going to that platform, dojoworth.org. That will eventually, I hope, be a nonprofit organization. I say I hope because we just founded this board. I haven't actually heard anyone else. Anyway, I see that happening, but that's only if it has legs. It's important to me to have another platform because I know what's happening. I believe that YouTube is the government. What I mean by that is that the political parties could all be bought. Their yearly budget for the political parties is $5.1 million. Do you understand? A billionaire could buy both parties for 4 years and still be a billionaire. It's not even that expensive. And what I see happening is the onslaught of more and more social media and the onslaught of more and more censorship. And as a computer programmer, I see a possibility, and that is through creating a game engine. Yeah, a game engine that has encrypted peer-to-peer talk. And what's weird here is I'm not talking about code encryption. No. I'm talking about human memology encryption. If any of you read my last book or the book before, I did a whole chapter on the memology of it, that computer cannot detect what makes something funny. They can detect if something's popular, but they don't know why. And that memology is a human encryption. That through humor, through irony, through connecting with each other, we have a neurological bond that cannot be penetrated by a hypothetical. In fact, if it looks like it's been penetrated by a hypothetical and you trace that back, you will see that that person gave up on themselves to the hypothetical. They declared that they now know. They know vaccines are safe. They know vaccines are effective. They know we went to the moon. They know there's nothing in Antarctica. They know that lithium is somehow green energy. That's knowing things, guys. That's knowing. And when you know, you are petrified. When you know, you have frozen yourself in crystal, and it's going to be that much harder for you to decongeal. This platform, I think, is going to support that. It's built on hieroglyphics. There's no language involved. Every place you enter in this world is buildable modules that you fuse, even the menus. That's why it's taken so long. That timeliner I showed you guys, it's all part of that. It's all built in that. I'll be bringing that out with the live stream. In fact, I've got a really good presentation on the POTUS seal I can't wait to show you. I think that might be Monday. There's lots to do. I'd like to ask you to consider helping the patrons that have gotten us through this last hump and joining Patreon now. I would like for you to consider that if you're on my Patreon because of Dojo, now's the time to abandon that ship. That now's the time to go ahead and take that rug from me and put it in Dojo Earth. That we need that. That we need a communal place that is not revolving around James True, that can have that gathering, that can have that sequencing that's needed right now. We need that. I am controversial. Owen Benjamin will hate me for a month, right? My own moderators will hate me for a month. We don't need that. We need a tent that doesn't have that. I want to be someone that comes into that tent, just like everyone else does. I will be someone, and this is what's going to allow us to do that. So please consider joining Patreon now. Because now James True gets to focus just on the live stream. There'll be no more Dojo content on JTrue, the website. And I get to focus on my writing. I actually write books. I actually have a giant cabinet of books I would love to sell you. You guys can get all 5 of my books right now for $88. That's today only. $88 for all 5 of my books. I have to find you the link to that, though, and I can't even say that I can find that because it's such an old link, but I know that I have that link because someone found one, and they bought 5 of my books for $88, and I thought, I didn't know you could do that still, and you can, and here's where it is. Here it is, $88, all 5 of my books. It would help a lot right now. I've spent a lot of money making it through this year, and I missed doing a live stream, so it's good. Yes. Thank you, Antonio. People, dojo recordings are recorded. In fact, the reason why they're called recordings is because we recorded them. We record dojo recordings because you will be held accountable for what you say in dojo to dojo. Those recordings are the property of no one. No different than anything else. If you were to go out on the street and film someone, you cannot, that doesn't mean now you have permission to do whatever you want to do with that. Dojo is here because sometimes people miss dojo and they want to catch up. And more importantly, dojo is there because the witness that you claimed you didn't say what you said last week, because that's what people do, be honest, that's what people do, I do it, is now set in stone. We want a place where we train, where we grow, where we learn to face our own electricity. People will come to dojo and then all of a sudden decide, well, we can't be having these recordings. And most of the time, those people have said something that they really regret or that they're trying to cover up. And that's fine too. It's part of the beautiful thing of it. But the dojo recordings stay inside the realm of Dojo Earth. It's for dojo members because so much electricity is learned by watching someone on the mat struggle. And that so many people that find themselves on the mat struggling, in their mind, they think that, well, I'm here to learn how to do electricity, and that's great, but I don't think they understand. Your struggle on the mat, you are giving a gift to everyone that's witnessing that. You're not going to learn as much on the mat when you're fighting with someone, whether it be me or someone else who's calling you out on your behavior. You're not going to learn so much. You're too busy in that fight. You're trying to negotiate with yourself. But when you watch someone else do that, suddenly all of your behavior gets broadcasted in 3 dimensions right in front of you, 5 dimensions. And you get to see how the energy interplays with itself. That we lie to ourselves in public. And Dojo Earth is the only place that I've found that we've been able to make, that we've been able to keep warm, that doesn't allow that to happen. It's a different kind of a place where you're held accountable for your spine and for the energy that casts through it. Even if you're low energy, why were you low energy? Why did you spend all that energy somewhere else? Where did it go? When it was spent, was it spent valuably? That kind of thing. It's personal energy. Chiropractic. That kind of thing. We're running late on time. Let's see, do one more sweep here, make sure there's no, I've been decorded. Let's see. Yeah, Six Dragons is a good book. That's, Six Dragons is my, autobiography. Talks about kind of how I got here, and the rest are more like electrical work. People like you are inspiring me to start creating my own content. Good, Steve. Create your own content. Steve, Dojo Earth is actually for that. You actually create your own content there. We started a streaming radio channel. Right now it's kind of done offline because we're moving stuff, but we've got a YouTube channel. We've got weekly shows. Esoteric Journey is one show that started on Dojo Earth. There's all these different things. There's even an anti-Jojo, guys. On Tuesdays, there's an anti-Dojo. So if you hate Dojo, you could join the anti-Jojo. So there's options for everybody there. If you're a writer, please come on. You'll notice that a lot of our individuals are writing now. And see, what's great about this platform is that you can use that for your own personal growth. It's hard to say, okay, I'm going to write something, and now you're like, fuck, I'm on the line to write something. And then you write something, and you explore it, you go through it, then all these people witness it. It's like some of the best growth ever. And I couldn't do that to you. No one else could do that to you. You did that to yourself, and you did that through the gauntlet of Dojo Earth. You know that, of Dojo Earth. Gauntlet was truly when you were defeated. This is such a beautiful concept. When you were defeated as an Indian warrior, you were given the opportunity of the gauntlet. And that gauntlet was a tunnel of men that you did not know that would rabbit punch you, would do whatever the fuck it is to watch you go through that gauntlet. and usually the tribal chief, most times a woman, would watch your behavior through that gauntlet. She would watch you undergo vitriol and determine your fate based on your travel through that gauntlet. And what is the river Styx, my friends? What is this life of amnesia where you're told no matter how hard you try, you can't remember who you are? That is the ultimate gauntlet, isn't it? Ultimate. And so there's no wrong or right. There's simply how we chose to spend our electricity. All right, guys, let's sign off. Someone just bought some books. Thank you. Thank you. Waters Above. My name is... Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that. I look forward to sending you those books. Yeah, whatever you want to create. Sarkasky Warlock. Sarcastic. He spelled sarcastic sarcastically. That's fucking hilarious. Yes, you will find that it's very much that way. All these groups are autonomous individuals. In fact, the anti-dojo group is on Dojo Earth. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So you have the ability to do all those things on there. Please do. And it can get better. We're going to release a mobile app, I think. Also, we're looking for web committee people that just want to help build a website, build something new. We'd love to have your help here. We need your help. Founder syndrome is very difficult. 95% of all nonprofits fail because the founder is unable to hand off properly to the group the growth, right? That the dojo's grown. It's grown so big that it would be wrong for me to even try and control it. It needs a life of its own, even if it means it's going to kick James True out. That is healthy dojo. It is. So give it a try if you want. Yeah, thanks, guys. She just put a link up there for you. I fisted the owl beneath the oak tree. Why did I read that? One green home bat. Why did I read that? You cannot take that back. I need to watch what I read. Steph, 40, Nikolov, I disagree. There is absolute truth. Well, give me an example, Steph. Give me an example. Because my guess is that you have only been here 50 years, and at most you'll be here 80 years. And that the extent of your vision over reality is limited to such a tiny degree, and that, in fact, you only see 0.002% of the visual spectrum of light, and that you need to say that there's absolute truth because it makes you feel better. And no, guys, I'm not saying there's moral relativity, as fucking Owen likes to pretend that means, because he's a dichotomous thinker. It's fractal, Stefan. It's fractal. And there's nothing absolute in the fractal. You're not going to find that same pixel no matter how much you drill down. It's going to always evolve and always change. It's going to showcase the same sequences, right? It's going to showcase the same rhythms, but none of those things are tangible. Those are the relationship between things. The feminine thing, right? A feminine is a relationship between things. She's the cup. You need that. Stefan, I would say to you that if the world was absolute, all of us would be petrified. We would be frozen in crystal. And the moment we found one piece of it that was absolute, it would by resonance turn the rest of it absolute instantly. That we need this amalgamated soup of belief to allow us free will. That there's no way that all of us could share the same game engine, the same reality, the same sandbox, the same class system, if we did not have this illusion of subjectivity and this illusion that each of us have this center, this origin point. And we need that because we build our fractal world from it, right? We need it. So I'm not even saying you shouldn't say things are absolute. I am saying that until you can prove it, please don't say those things. That's all. You know what? Say it. Actually, Steph, I love seeing you talk. But I don't think that you've proven it. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. I haven't seen Carolyn forever. Damn. Owen will be... Don't say Owen will be flogged, Reds, because he likes that. Guys, he likes that. So, careful. Okay? If you go to the Sub-Brigade group on Dojo Earth, you can see a list of all links to the different content creators' channels that go through... Yes, thank you, Noam. Thank you. Yeah, that rain's great, isn't it, Crook and Flail? All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Really, really enjoyed it. Thanks for welcoming me back. It's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Can't wait to show you the new show. Can't wait to show you all kinds of stuff. So, have a great weekend. So glad I happened to tune in at this time and wanted to buy your books anyway. Thanks, Waters Above. Looking forward to it. 1 + 1 = 1, says Carolyn. You know what? We could talk about that. Because, guys, we chose a 10 base math system. We chose that. Just saying. Binary is a whole other way of looking at things, right? Binary, hex, hexadecimal, right? So you got 64 base, 10 based, 16 based. I'm sorry, 2 based, right? Bit based, 0 and 1, 0 and 1. Then you got byte based, so 0110, 1001, 1111, 0000, right? So you have 16 now. That's 16 based. And you have 10 based, decibased, decimal, right? And then you have what's the most efficient. Believe it or not, hexadecimal. 16. Mathematically, that's the most efficient way to store numbers right now. I say right now because I would imagine that way up there in the prime numbers, we're going to find another system of storing that has even more compression in it. But we just don't have the computer power right now to do that. Yeah, good to see you too, Chrissy. All right, guys, take care. Hit that thumbs up if you want. And have a wonderful day. And remember the Alamo. And wait, I have an outro and everything. Let's see if this works. I haven't clicked this button in a long time. Let's see. Aw, it's the horsey. It's the horsey. I don't know, guys. Have a great day. James out.